Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of their Excellencies, the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, General the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove and Lady Cosgrove. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ian Spence and I have the great honour to act as your Master of Ceremonies today. My first and very important task as Master of Ceremonies is, on behalf of all those here, to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are gathered on, the Ngunnawal people, and their elders, past and present. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand, if you are able to do so, while Australia's Federation Guard mount the catafalque party. Please be seated. President of the National Boer War Memorial Association, Colonel John Haynes, OAM, to formally welcome you to the dedication ceremony.
Thanks very much, Ian. I think my voice is breaking. Hang on. I was frightened of this. I'll do better than squeaking a minute. Come on. It's there. Well, Your Excellency, what a pleasure to have you here. I introduce you, welcome you, His Excellency, General, the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove, AK MC, and Her Excellency Lady Lynn Cosgrove, and another very important guest, of course, His Excellency General, the Honourable David Hurley, AC, DCM retired, Governor of New South Wales, and Mrs Linda Hurley. Welcome. We were surprised and quite astonished, in fact, at the number of very important guests, very special guests, that took the trouble to come out today and join us here. And we offer each one of those a very warm welcome. Next group of importance is the group of first generation descendants here today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a special group here that's not in the program, and that's the group of people that made this happen. I think they deserve a special welcome. I mean, look what they've created, a enduring link between the soldiers fighting in South Africa on unarmoured personnel carriers with the Armoured Corps troopers of today, of course, who are going to war in fully armoured personnel carriers. So, thank you very much for that particular group of hard workers. Well done.
Thank you, John. I would like to note that Colonel Haynes has spent almost 20 years working towards getting this memorial built and has been the driving force behind its success in the last 10 years. I now invite His Excellency General the Honourable Peter Cosgrove, AK MC, and Lady Cosgrove to dedicate the memorial.
They're very organised here. They've even got plastic cups labelled with our names. Typical of the organisation of this group. Let me start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present, and to elders from other communities who may be with us today. Although John has made some acknowledgements, it's important that the list be announced some time. Colonel John Haynes, of course, President of the National Boer War Memorial Association. Your Excellency General, the Honourable David Hurley, Governor of New South Wales, Mrs Linda Hurley. Senator, the Honourable Maurice Payne, representing the Prime Minister and in her own right Minister for Defence. All members of the Diplomatic Corps. The Honourable Jane Prentice, Assistant Minister for Social Services and Disability Services. Major General, the Honourable Michael Jeffrey and Ms Marlena Jeffrey. Ms Jennifer Howard, representing the Premier of Queensland, the Honourable Peter Tinley, representing the Premier of Western Australia, the Honourable Amanda Risworth, representing the Premier of South Australia, Air Chief Marshal Mark Binskin, Chief of the Australian Defence Force, and other senior defence leaders, Ms Gay Brodman, Member for Canberra, Councillor Matthew Burke, representing the Lord Mayor of Brisbane, and Ms Elizabeth Blanthorne, representing the Victorian Minister for Veterans, Tourism and Major Events. I want to make special mention of Mr Michael Crouch, Chair of the National Boer War Memorial Fund Committee, and of course all of those who collaborated with him. First generation descendants of the Boer War, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In 1899, soldiers and nurses from all 6 Australian colonies volunteered to serve in the Boer War. And when Federation came, 3 years later, they became the first to serve our new nation in conflict. It was in this war, in an unforgiving land, against a resourceful and determined adversary, that the true Australian spirit was illuminated on the international stage. Through their deeds, service and sacrifice, these men and women showed to each other and to the world what it meant to be Australian. The qualities of loyalty and mateship and solidarity, a belief in a fair go, and a touch of larrikin, of irrepressibility. Qualities we pride in ourselves and our defence forces to this day. They came to the fore on the African veldt so far from home. Our first 6 Victoria Crosses and 161 other decorations were gallant testament to the Australian way. This was in some ways a defining moment for a new nation. Just as we acknowledge the significance and symbolism of this war, we do not forget the human cost. So it is that we think of men like Private Victor Jones, a bookkeeper from Rockhampton, killed on a reconnaissance mission. At just 28 years of age, Victor is believed to be the first man to die in the uniform of a new nation, Australia. We think of Nurse Frances Hines, known to all her friends as Fanny. Originally from Victoria, Fanny was one of more than 60 nurses to volunteer. Sadly, she would become the first Australian nurse to die on overseas service for our nation, struck down by pneumonia. One of the soldiers she cared for would later write, "Fanny simply gave her life to the work of saving others." As time passes, those who served in this war become more distant in our history. We treasure them through the families and descendants who carry their memory on. And this is as it ought to be. Great memorials standing in deeply significant commemorative spaces such as this avenue, with its magnificent perspective, focus our hearts and minds on reverent remembrance. We are privileged to have first-generation descendants with us today. And the wreaths 2 of these descendants will lay remind us of so many untold stories of life, loss and sacrifice, stories which rest at the very heart of the Boer War. This war is sometimes called Australia's forgotten war. Well, that is not the case today, nor will it ever be the case again. With this memorial, we have a fitting and indeed stirring companion piece to the other great memorials that adorn this most revered avenue of national remembrance and reflection. It is a credit to sculptor Lewis Norman and all those whose skill, generosity and tireless work has brought it into being. A long, hard road for all of them, but well travelled, with cheerful determination. Now arrived at with this magnificent memorial. Congratulations to all. These bronze troopers and their steeds, forevermore blazing through the scrub and bush, are a reminder for us and generations to come of those who first served our nation in battle and displayed the attributes we now proudly call our own. They were the fathers of Anzacs. They hold a special place in our history. This is recognition of their service to our young nation. Recognition that is long awaited and well deserved.
Now ask the Governor-General and Lady Cosgrove to unveil the dedication plaque. Thank you, Your Excellencies. I now invite the Chair of the National Boer War Memorial Association Fund Committee, Mr. Michael Crouch, AO, to gift the memorial to the Commonwealth and people of Australia.
Your Excellency, Sir Peter Cosgrove, Governor-General of Australia, and Lady Cosgrove, Your Excellency, General David Hurley and Mrs. Hurley, Chief of Defence Forces, Air Chief Marshal Mark Binskin, former Governor-General Michael Jeffrey and Mrs. Jeffrey, Excellencies, High Commissioners, Members of Parliament, Minister, but may I particularly mention the High Commissioner from South Africa. Donors, descendants, ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate the great spirit of Australia, that spirit that was immortalised by the men and women who went of their own accord to serve in the Boer War. That very same spirit that enabled colonies around Australia to align with other colonies and go and defend the Mother England and Great Britain in that war in South Africa. It's that same spirit that enabled a group of worthy army colonels to come together underneath that remarkable man, Colonel John Haynes, who had the inspiration some 17 years ago to ensure that this memorial was built. They have witnessed this over that long period of time and see it come to fruition today, and it must be a remarkable experience for them. May I also mention the wonderful sculptor, Mr. Louis Lauman, who has encapsulated in these 4 bronze statues the anatomy and momentum of those horses and their riders, to stand here in this wonderful memorial indeed capturing the spirit of Australia. May I thank and acknowledge the Department of Defence and the Department of Veteran Affairs and all those donors and people who have contributed and made today possible and make it all come to fruition. I thank them for inspiring the nation. You, Your Excellency, have inspired this nation in time of war and in conflict. And we thank you for that inspiration and for that leadership. It's on behalf of that group that ensured this memorial came into being that I'm empowered to hand this memorial to you as head of our nation, to be held by the people of Australia, to represent that spirit of Australia, and to ensure that it is maintained by the Australian Capital Territory Authority. Your Excellency, It's our gift to you.
Thank you, Michael. Mr. Crouch has chaired the Fund Committee since 2013 and has played a crucial role in securing the major donations needed to design and build the memorial. Chaplain Yanch will now deliver the Remembrance prayer. Please remain seated.
As your faith or otherwise permits, and as you are inclined, I invite you to reflect in your own way at this time, or to join me as I pray. Eternal God, before whom all generations rise and fall, have mercy upon human folly and failure. We acknowledge the power of human greed, fear and jealousy. We acknowledge the aggression and pretense of nations. Forgive those sins that lead to war. Almighty God, today we remember the men and women who served the Empire and our emerging nation Australia in the Boer War. We praise you for the courage of men and women from the colonies with their horses, so many of them, who responded to the call of duty. We honour their foes, brothers and sisters in humanity, caught up in the vagaries of human history. Help us to value our freedom, that we may use it wisely, that all people and nations may live together in harmony and peace, and face the future with confidence and hope. Amen.
Musician Tony Maxfield will now lead us in the hymn recessional. Please remain seated, and the words are on the back cover of your ceremony booklet. His Excellency, the Governor-General and Lady Cosgrove to lay a wreath on behalf of Australia. invite forward to lay a wreath the Minister of Defence representing the Prime Minister of Australia, the Chief of the Defence Force, Colonel Haynes, Mr Crouch, Mrs Barbara Horgan and Captain John Cox representing the first generation descendants of those Australians who served in the war, and Dr Nelson from the Australian War Memorial. The members of the diplomatic corps whose countries were also involved in the Boer War to lay a wreath. Wreaths are being laid on behalf of New Zealand, Great Britain, Canada and South Africa. Chaplain Yates will now deliver the prayer of dedication. Please remain seated.
Almighty and eternal God, Lord of the universe and maker of all that is, we praise and thank you for all those who denied themselves and laid down their lives for their friends. It is in this same spirit of self-sacrifice that we dedicate this memorial through your name. Grant to those lost in the sands of history, yet remembered in our hearts and minds, a lasting remembrance in this memorial, and that their names be written in your book of life. And to us who honour them, give grace to walk in the same way of love and faith, that we may come at the last with them to that eternal kingdom where you live and reign in the perfect unity of love, one God, now and forever. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for a requiem. We pause to pray for souls departed. Lives given in battle, in the perils of service, or as the years have passed. Many lost to our memory, but not that of their Creator. faithful in their duty, forgiven in their failures, refined in the fires of hellish conflict, now in the company of angels.
At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing if you are able to do so, while musician Tony Maxfield leads us in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Although several individuals are thanked on page 14 of the ceremony booklet, I would also like to thank the following whilst the Governor-General is still here for their contribution to the ceremony. The band of the Royal Military College, Australia's Federation Guard, the Australian Light Horse Association, St John's Church, who have been very generous in their support right back to the design competition which was held in their church hall. Marine College, whose young ladies handed out your ceremonies in the main tent today, St John's Ambulance, and finally the planners of the ceremony. First, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Armour, who single-handedly laid the very strong foundations, and then Lieutenant Colonel Ron McElwain and his dedication subcommittee, who took over from Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, their Excellencies, the Governor-General and Lady Cosgrove will now depart. Please stand. And the Governor-General is making a formal departure, but he will then stay and mingle for a while. You're privileged. I now invite any other group or individual who wishes to lay a wreath or floral tribute to come forward and do so. For the remainder of the audience, please remain silent.
Henry, maybe you can text me when it is. That would be great.
Yeah, I think Dean passed on waiting.
Wreath, could you please remain in attendance for the moment?